Hey everyone, this is DW's Darius and welcome to another day in a fish room. Today we're once again looking at my new 350 gallon acrylic aquarium, and I want to talk a little bit about the filtration on this tank. Okay everyone, so before I get into the filtration, I want to give you guys a quick update on the fish. So if you remember the last video I posted, I showed me adding a fish to this aquarium, and it definitely didn't go as good as it could have went. So right here is the arowana. If you saw that video, you know that this guy jumped when I was pouring him into the top about 4 feet over. You can see he's doing good. He doesn't have too much body damage, which is awesome. And he's actually eating today, which is about a week after being inside the aquarium. And for those of you who keep arowana, you know that these fish, when you move them a lot of times, they lose their appetite. Actually, when I moved this guy, when I first bought him, he was in at 55, and I moved him to my 210 gallon aquarium. He went 2 months without eating. So it's definitely good that he only went 1 week without eating, and he's back to eating, so he's doing awesome. And he's definitely loving this space. Out of all the fish, he used this entire 8-foot space non-stop swimming. After that, we have the red devil. This guy, when I first added him, was extremely aggressive, but now he calmed down. And just as I thought, he was just trying to make it straight that he is the alpha male, he is the most dominant. And now that he has that established, all is well. But it's going to reoccur when I add the fish from the pond in here, the Oscar and the other peacock bass. But hopefully it doesn't go too far. Other than that, we have my peacock bass, the 2 of them, and my flagtail Petrilides. Now the cool thing is that these fish are all schooling together. Now these fish are very shy. They were shy in 210, so you know they're going to be They're going to be shy in this aquarium after only being in here for about a week. But they definitely are doing good. Fed them today, they're eating with no problems and just doing well. Right here is the smaller catfish. He just went somewhere behind that rock. You can see his tail right there. And the larger catfish is alive and well as well. He's somewhere behind these rocks. That's what I wanted. I wanted the catfish to be able to hide under these rocks, and they're doing that. So that's pretty awesome. Okay everyone, so now I want to give you guys a quick breakdown of my filtration system. I want to see if I could get it down with one shot without making it too confusing. So initially, you know me, I like to go with canister filters. They're easy to use, easy to set up. And on my 210, I have a Fluid FX6, which is effective, quiet, and just awesome. I also have the same filter on my African Stickler tank, and definitely one of the best canister filters from my experience. However, those bad boys are pretty expensive. I think they cost about $350, and I would need 2 of them on this tank, and that would cost me $700. And I didn't want to toss $700 for the filter when I just spent $2,500 on the tank itself. So because of that, that left me with the option of a sump. Now your typical sump will be an aquarium underneath your main display tank. For this size aquarium, I would probably need maybe a 125 or larger. But the thing is, in this hobby, this hobby is becoming more popular, and because of that, the prices of things are shooting up. So 125 in my area will cost me about $300, not including the pump, not including the media and stuff like that. So I also did not want to do that. So that ended up allowing me to look online at different options. I've seen people use sumps inside totes. I've seen people use sumps inside those little box pond filters. And lastly, I came across a video that was by Greg Jones. He's a part of My Aquarium Box. You may have heard of him, but he uses water barrels. So these right here are 55 gallon water barrels. They come in different sizes. I've seen 30 gallons, 55 gallons. These right here are the most common. Now when you look at these brand new, they cost anywhere between $60 to $90 depending on where you get them from. When you buy them, they are sealed, so they only have 2 holes, so I actually had to cut it in order to get it open like this. But yeah, they usually cost anywhere between $60 to $90. But in my area, I checked on eBay, and there was a guy selling these for $10 each. Definitely an awesome price, so I picked up 2. Now the only catch was that these are used, and they were used to transfer vinegar into this country. So they initially had a strong scent of vinegar, even though I washed it out and everything. So I just let it sit for like a week in soapy water, and eventually the smell was taken out. And now I have 2 buckets, great for a sump. Now they do the same thing as your traditional aquarium sump. Imagine if this whole 8-foot of aquarium space was one sump. The way it will work is water will come into one side and work its way through several different chambers with housing media and just different things to treat the water until it reaches the last chamber where it's shot back up into the tank. I do the same thing, but instead of going horizontal, I'm going vertical. So I have water coming in, going through several different chambers into this different chamber and shooting up into the different tanks. I'm going to talk a little bit about what's in each chamber a little bit later. Now when you take a few steps back, you can see that these 2 filters, they take up a lot of space. And you know, for one tank, do I really want to take up 4 feet? So that's what gave me the idea, why not try to break it into 2 aquariums? I have a lot of space, a lot of room for media, so why not use it on 2 tanks? So that gave me the idea to join both these aquariums. And then when I started thinking about it, there's a lot of ups and downs to having 2 combined aquariums, 2 conjoined tanks. Some of the ups is that right here I have a lot of plants, and in this tank I can't have plants because the red devil will destroy them. So in a sense, the benefit of all these plants are going to affect both of these 2 tanks. So that's one of the benefits. The second benefit is that I'm going to have a lot more water volume in this entire setup. So right here I have 350 gallons. These buckets, this one is filled about maybe 2/3 to the top. This one is about 1/3 full. So that gives me about, the whole thing is about 55 gallons. So I'm just going to say it's 50 gallons, so it'll be easy math. So we have a 350, we have a 50 gallon, and together they're 400 gallons of water. Then we add a 125, and that gives us 525 gallons of water. And you know, more water is better. It allows just more consistency. You know, that's one of the #1 things in aquariums, consistency with your pH, with your temperatures, and with stuff like that. So that's another benefit. Now, of course, we also have the downs when it comes to combining 2 aquariums. One of the major downs is that if I add a fish to this aquarium and it gets sick, not only do all the fish in this aquarium be at risk, but also the fish in this tank are at risk as well. And another down is that if my filter ever breaks my pump, I'm down 2 aquariums instead of just 1. But when you consider the pros versus the cons, I think that the pros outweigh the cons pretty significantly. Okay, so now I want to give you guys a quick look at how it works. So typically with a sump, people will drill holes into their aquarium. However, this tank is brand new. It cost me $2,500. There's no way I was going to drill a hole in this tank. So instead, I went with a DIY overflow box. Now this overflow box is the same as the King of DIY's overflow box. I actually watched his video like 5 times just to get this one done. Definitely a very easy method, and so far it definitely is risk-free. So basically I have 1-inch diameter PVC. There's a 1-inch diameter PVC going into the aquarium just as long as this one, and it's inside of another PVC which is 2 inches long. At the top of this 2-inch PVC I have a bunch of holes. All the water in the tank spills into there, goes down inside. Once again, I have the 1-inch diameter PVC, so it comes up, goes down again, up there, over, and spills right there into the first baffle. Now this definitely wasn't hard to do. Once I have my overflow built, the rest of it is pretty much basic. It's pretty much just gravity, let gravity do the rest of the work. Same thing here, I have the same setup, same size. I painted it black so you know it fits in very well with the black background, but the same setup, the same overflow box coming over and down. Now because this one has more of a diagonal slope, the force of this one, or the draining speed, is a little bit better. It drains faster, so because of that, if we look up here, my water level stays a little bit higher, stays a little bit lower compared to this aquarium, because this one doesn't drain as fast because there's not as much of a slope. Okay, so I hope that first part wasn't too confusing. As always, any questions, let me know in the comment section below. Oh yeah, so let's go on to the next step. So it's kind of dark in here, so I have my phone. Try to give you guys a little bit of flashlight. Okay, so you can see right here is the drain to where the water comes in. And then I have right here this garbage can. So this is my first baffle. So at the bottom of this garbage can, there's a bunch of holes. Well, actually, before we get to the bottom, we have a bunch of media. So all the water coming out of these tanks has to go through all this media. I have 2 of these blue pads. I have a bunch of sponge filters. I have all the media for my marine land, which used to be what ran this aquarium. All of that is in there. So all the water has to go through this bucket, past all that mechanical filtration, and then I have holes at the bottom of this garbage can. So it goes through there, and then it comes out in here. Down there you can see that brown stuff. It's hard trying to hold the camera and a flashlight at the same time, so if I'm doing poorly when it comes to filming, I do apologize. But down there you can see all that brown stuff. That is lava rock. So the water goes in a bucket, through all the mechanical filtration. Out the bottom, it goes through all the lava rock, and then eventually it fills up over here. I have 2 of these, I gotta put the camera down, I mean the light down, because I'm just not good at multitasking. But yeah, so when it goes through the bucket, it comes up past the lava rock, or through the lava rock rather, and then I have these 2 little gateways. This right here is the main chamber where water goes through. You can see the water line is right here. However, if this thing ever get clogged up, which I honestly doubt that this will ever get clogged up, but if it does get clogged, water will go up there and exit. Once again, if you follow Greg Jones, you know that he has a similar setup. Once water comes in here, it's poured out through here. I have this little elbow, just for the sake of quieting it down. You can see the flow rate of the water exiting these 2 aquariums. It's pretty decent. But I have this little elbow right here just to make it a little bit quieter. But once the water comes through here, I have some K1 media, which actually this stuff is supposed to be a moving bed filter, and the significance of it is that it's always moving, so it gives your beneficial bacteria the chance to just stay alive and healthy. It knocks off the old beneficial bacteria, and it keeps the young beneficial bacteria that's more effective alive. When you look at it, it just looks like regular plastic. So this is my first time using this stuff, so only time will tell if this stuff really works. And along with that, I have the bio balls that came from my Marine Land C530, and then under the water I have 3 bags of ceramic O's, and then I have my pump. So pumps, I'm not sure if I could, you probably can't see it, but I have an Aquaneat. I think it's 3,200 gallons per hour. It's actually a lot stronger than what is exiting from this tank. So this amount of flow is that if I turn the pump on all the way, it can't keep up, or it's too much for that flow, and it will flood my tanks. But yeah, anyway, the pump, 3,200 gallons. I'll post a picture of the actual pump on the screen. But it's pumping water up here. I have to put this little valve up here to slow it down a little bit, because it is a little bit too strong, but it goes up and it is split over here. I had to put another valve because this one is closer, so you know water is going to go that way first. I had to put it right here just to balance it, and it also goes that way, and into this tank. Now hopefully that wasn't too confusing, but once again, questions, let me know, comment section below. Now let me show you guys what happened if the power goes out. So right here is where I have everything plugged in. Power goes off, so this immediately stops pumping water, and water will drain as low as my overflow box. So right there at the bottom hole, that's when the water is going to stop draining. Same thing with this tank. Once water reaches that bottom hole, it will stop draining, and because of that, I don't have to worry about my tank being flooded. So right now everything is drained out. You can hear it's nice and quiet, and this is the lowest that the tank gets when it's drained because of my overflow box right there. It doesn't go anywhere beneath that. Same thing with this tank over here. Water's still draining because this one still has to reach that line, but once it reaches that bottom hole, no more water will exit from the tank. The sump level does come up significantly. You can see the line, that's where it's at originally before, when it's on, and when it's off, it comes all the way up here. Now initially when I was building this sump, I flooded my basement the first time, and that's because even though I have these overflow boxes, whenever water stopped pushing out, it would create a backwards flow through my output, and this flooded my basement dramatically one day. So what I did was, once again, I went to YouTube, looked at a couple of videos, and I found one guy, I forgot the name of his channel, but he recommended that we put air holes at the top of our outputs. That way, when water is done exiting our overflow box, it won't continue exiting the output. This will break the flow of the output so that it doesn't become a reverse effect and drain the tank. Same thing over there. I have the 2 holes inside of the output, and that makes it so that when your pump goes off, it doesn't suck water back up. As soon as the pump goes off, when it reaches the level of the holes, all the water spills out, all the air spills out, and you don't have to worry about those backing up water into your system. So now we're going to plug everything back in. Now I know when I was reading about this DIY overflow box, there was a lot of people saying that it might fail. What if it loses suction? What if it just doesn't start back up? Because if it doesn't start back up, you know, the tanks are going to be continuously filled until they spill over. But so far I've been trying this thing every day and I've had no issues because water will stay in this little loop right here. Or not in this little loop, but water will stay somewhere in here. I saw the video. You gotta watch Joey's video to get the full details. But water stays in here, and because of that, it makes it so that these things are always able to start back up whenever water re-enters into the overflow boxes. So you can see, and you can hear rather, the water coming back out. And that's pretty much how it works. Now here's a look at everything back on. So if you look from above, you can see the water being added back into the aquarium. Now this filter doesn't really provide a ton of surface agitation. However, it's enough to keep everything alive. You can see the water exiting over there at my overflow box. And same thing with this tank over here. You can see that the water is somewhat clear. I just added all this wood, so there's a lot of yellow tannins, and it's affecting both of these aquariums. But other than that, things are looking clean, and most importantly, fish are alive and looking healthy. So altogether, this filtration ended up costing me $200. The most expensive part being my pump, which was about $70. Then you know the 2 cans or the 2 barrels cost me $20. The PVC cost me a little bit more than it should have costed, and that's because I did make a few mistakes. But this was the first time I am working with a sump, so I guess it is reasonable. Next time, if I was to redo this, I definitely could spend less money because I would know not to do the things that I did before that were wrong. But yeah, everybody, I hope this video wasn't confusing. Just wanted to give you guys a quick look at my twin aquarium. I combined these 2 tanks into 1 filter. Now instead of having 1 filter in this tank, 2 filters in that tank, I have 1 filter on both these aquariums, cutting that cost down. I also was able to hide my equipment. Right now I don't use heaters because it's in the summer, but eventually when it's time to use heaters, they're going in that bucket. You don't see any intake or outtake filtration. That's because they're black and they just blend in so well with the black background. But in my opinion, it came out well, and just the experience was pretty nice. Once again, I never did sumps, so this definitely was just a great learning experience. So anyway, that's been a look at the filtration system for this aquarium. Once again, any questions about what you saw today, let me know in the comment section below. Any comments, let me know in the comment section below as well. If you liked this video, hit the thumbs up button. And if you want more, make sure to subscribe, because right there is an empty aquarium. And soon that bad boy is going to be filled. So with that being said, I'll catch you guys on the next one.